Kanumairo corrupt.
But allow us to do this Tinavalendum studio.
Yay!
If there was ever going to be a Zambian music class where they were teaching music as Zambian music, the people what we're trying to introduce is a course on its own, because music Jabe is so rich with so many things, education, everything. But many times I'm an even home student. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The many times that we would have my graduation, they would pick songs from Sakala Brothers as one of the songs that they would learn. As like tonations, the way they did the live band, the music and everything else. So really Sakala Brothers stands for more than just two people that wanted to sing, but it stands for a whole lot of things. It's generational music, and we have one of them in the studio. So
yes! Come on, you!
Hi!
Hello! Yeah.
Zambian MC.
Zambian.
Why? You do. Okay, so I could welcome.
Kasi natokoza Mwatinyamula. Thank you for that introduction. I'm humbled.
Where
you belong. And if you are cast fit and I remember our fish band every Sunday ngakudu kupianga babika up CD which much but mwana kusefi bumba mwana washa mwana kusefi bumba basa mwana pianga while she's singing along kumanimbo ya wayo. And if there's a part that is saying something, maybe hile fundo mwana mwana kashi unamfikisha mwanzo na ngombe sakamanga you know, so it's so amazing but they are still up and the way to pera manimbo aya wa mishanganshi afundo akudi umuntu uri once.
Before
Tasha sana Effie. Thank you.
Before Takamba Napali, like one of the biggest reasons why we're here, first things first, you know, our condolences, because we know we all lost a brother and a father and an uncle in the brother, but you lost, you know, because you spent years and years of traveling, went out now. But we want to know the beginning of Sakala Brothers. Where did you and what was the first conversation, your first sight, and then process.
Choyamba, first of all, I would like to thank Zambian people kutokoza nditu kuchokera pansi pa mtima wanga vantu omwana kwa nisa, those who managed to make it. As you may know, it was during COVID restrictions, so not so many people managed to. But some people who supported and made sure that Levy Sakala had a worthwhile send-off. So we'd like to say thank you, Zikomo Kwambidi. Kulingana na mwambo ni chintu chovuta kuti ingakale pano. Koma kulingana na nchito yatu, you know, we are artists. We belong to the people, to the public. You know, in the first place, the name Sakala Brothers was named by Zambian people. We started by just calling ourselves Moses and Levy, and then we were called Sakala Boys because we were quite young when we started. And then at some point, somebody mentioned Sakala Brothers because we shared the same surname, and coincidentally, we're not blood brothers. So it came from the people. So, you know, they've made us what we are today. So it's a long journey. I met Levy like 36 years ago.
Give us a rundown.
Yes,
it's like where was Muskulu, you know?
Wambili waganizati tenze pachi blue, like blood brothers. Levy analichabe mzanga. Analichabe mzanga tunakumala first time. Tonse tuna badula ku Matero na kukulira mu Matero. Matero yazoona not yanipwera ati Matero constituency. Mwalikako kwa Matero ya mene. Ina kulibe malaiti manyumba but yasha makendu. Wenangu yasha makoloboi but we had beautiful street lights because those were council houses and some humble life and sweet life. Levy loved September, so every time it's September, I used to say a lot about September. He loved the environment. Tinakumana of Matero boys. We studied for grade 8.
Form 1.
Grade 8. Initially, I am my grade department. So, Matero boys was managed by Americans, American Catholic brothers, the Marianists. So, wanalina system, yama numbers. So for 5 years by Matero boys, we were identified by our numbers. So I was number 929, Levy Sakala was 928. So we were automatically sitting next to each other. None at my desk, we were the only ones who had those sophisticated desks, so we just sit along. Matero boys is a special school indeed. So Levy, problem, kamba. Yes, exactly. Kas.
Yes. Kas. Maybe Monse.
Yes. Anali kukamba maningi naturally is a one son. So this one can't be my friend. Ukamuona tabu wamewerenga kudala kuta he was all over. Grade 8 tikalipono jaira bwino kai vizungu ku Matero paja tenalu kwamba chinyanja. So kai ni kudala kai inferiority complex. Mukaenda ku secondary school at nikukamba chizungu. Which was I think today I'm looking at it and I said yeah, so that time you speak in English, my broken English. Yeah, I'm from 1 but grade 8. So Levy was all over and cutting the long story short, he was chasing after me.
What?
Like Monga Uluisha, I think so. I think I told him that at some point, because I was like, he talks a lot. He's too loud. I didn't. So at some point, I would dabba kutika kwa 16 hours. Kalila jabe bero. Nyamula mabuku in a straight. I'm heading. I was surprised because people used to remain behind, the pupils remain behind, hang around to go to the study center or do something else. So he asked me one day, where do you go all the time? You just shoot out. Not knowing, I was running an independent dance troupe, Amayenge dance troupe.
In grade 8?
Yes, yes. Oh, wow. In fact, I started a primary school because, my background, I'm a master drummer. I can play all the traditional master drums and drums from wherever, whether you say 73 tribes, I can do that. Yeah, so I came from that background because of where we grew up in Matero. So Levy also came from similar backgrounds because in Evanakudi Independence Stadium, behind Hero Stadium, that part of Matero. Me, I was a bridge part, down like you're going to Lilanda. Matero. So when we met, similar backgrounds. So he discovered one day he convinced me. So he had to follow me and went to George Compound, this community hall city council. They maintain rehearsals, a traditional cultural group, 40 young people. So he was surprised, he was shocked. Because there was some kind of quiet, but introvert. So I like to keep things inside. I didn't show anyone that I was an artist or talented. So I was a chairman for a very big dance troupe. So Levy went there and he attended our rehearsals. So I had this double life. I am at school, secondary school, but I'm running a professional dance troupe. That time we were young but very professional because we could have shows, we go for festivals, the lifestyle of those days. The Kaunda days, it was really, we had a lot of motivational platforms to express and expose ourselves, which we don't have today. So that's how we met with Levy. I called him Levy the Pusher because Levy was all over. sometimes you can fight, we had our highs and lows, but now, you reflect now, you meditate about that, and they said, oh, that's how come.
What one thing did most because really you didn't like it. You didn't want him anywhere close to him. I think
yeah, I mean, first of all, we were proud that we're both Sakalas.
Okay.
He was a nice guy, but he used to talk a lot. But I came to realize later, that was when I said, it was there.
Yeah.
But when I knew him closer, he got closer to me, I discovered some things. Levy wanted to be there, like CNN. He wanted to be there everywhere.
Yeah.
You could every time. Have you heard? Vintuensi na mbelepo, never viswa kudara. Na vintuamnana lukamba, vachikulu chikulu. He was like that. He was a researcher. So when he was young there, he was telling me a story all the time. Nina brother wanga wali ku German mza madrese German
big deal.
You own the family in kala important. You own the family wa hiyo, but na brother wa ku German. So he was telling me nina brother ku German, John Sakala. Akaboela was that to Milan drama. It is a record because he was trying to also, after he saw that I was a singer but traditionally, and then I could play instruments like drums, traditional drums, and I was a dancer. Yeah, tenzochita na break dances. Vonse, but with the traditional. So now, this guy is an artist. So he was trying to convince me to join a choir. Pamatero boys panal be a traditional dance troupe. Panal choir, join the choir. Him came from a choral background. Mambilima primary school, they were national champions actually. Where the choir, and he was a choir conductor, so he was trying to convince me that before him a choir organized way. No, I, for so many times I refused, but he convinced me. I joined the choir. My stagecraft and my experience as an artist, unknowingly, I became chairman of Matero Boys Choir, and Levy was choir conductor. Then we convinced Matero Boys because so we were quite pushy, with Levy, we're just young, but we convinced because now I join a choir, manje waimba vile ya. Kaenda kuma competition, taenda nakabaska mushe, manika hivi, Matero Boys benzo wazungu, managers. But mwenda nakabaska mushe kuja, mchoka namba last, maluza. We're not used. Where we're coming from, my dance troupe is number one, in Lusaka, even national. His choir was number one, Mambilima, no doubt. Everyone who was there at that time knew about Mambilima, a choral group, with Mr. Mtonga there. Yeah, so we were not happy to be losers, so we were challenging ourselves. We convinced the headmaster, the administration, that they were material girls, because Kabulonga boys and girls were national champions in choral, secondary school, for many years. So we brought in material girls, had a combined choir for the first time. As usual. Maybe that's why my voice is booming. So we rehearsed very hard with me. Kino Banda, there used to be these people who used to come and coach us from outside, independent people, they came. That was that era. We had a lot of choirs in markets, it was the Unipi days and so on. For the first time, we brought Matero Girls Dawina, Lusaka, number one. And then national in Kasama, we went to represent Lusaka, the national festival, number one, Matero Boys and Girls. So that's where it was coming from. And then every time, Tanari Kuimba Pama School Assembly, as the Levy and Moses, Levy's brother came. Machoka Kujeman, Mabuena.
Zona meza Kujeman.
Vanai Kujeman. So he convinced him. I'm just trying to cut the long story.
Short.
So he convinced him. He was a pusher. I don't know how he did it, because those days kuuza makola tinifuna nilipa school niambevo imba yenzenkani ovuta. But anakwandisa kwa convince mpaka wampasa ako drama. Nishatamba kai Levy was like CNN analikuenda pale. He knew everything. So he tells me, he said, "Commentary kuja kumlongoti, commentary sometimes TV watambako, sometimes but him was stay. Anankana na brother wake. So most of the time he was like the man in the house, the what, you know, so he had time. So our number Burning Youth, Michael Kumwenda, late Michael Kumwenda, on TV, on Time for Music, Tim Mvula. Then he told me, I saw a band that can back us. And I'm looking at this guy, where is it getting this confidence? Backing us where? At Chicago School. And I said, no. Was that pastor Jonah? We used to call him John. Was that pastor?
Uncle John. John.
Yes. Until he gave us money. So we looked for Burning Youth. They were in Matero at New London Motel, and that's because of Kandarama. I think Kandarama nako kama
important.
Because we were in school uniforms. So obvious. So that kulupidile. Fana and my school uniform. Of course, they were also younger, but they had just come from Copper Bell. They're trying to gain ground in Lusaka as Burning Youth. So they were listening to whoever is coming through. Balondi Paja, they were squatting, but we didn't know they were squatting. So we gave them the money for rehearsal. We started rehearsing on the song Kumao. That's how it started. And one day we called Jonah Sakala, the promoter. After rehearsal, DB studio. How do we do it? Levy went back convincing the brother, but the brother said, no, you can't go to the studio. We had only one recording studio that time, DB studio. Kunalibe digital. There was no this kind of technology. Baka taenda one night. The other night we failed. It was a very depressing night. Because you can't go Burning Youth and say space pakapwalala japa. But Burning Youth by time yao nice to jumpile titeka nyimbo to convince the sponsor. So that's what happened the first time we failed. Second time, Jonah Sakala was in the audience. They took a risk actually, the Burning Youth, because we had paid them something.
You informed what at this point?
Up at grade 10.
Okay.
Yeah, grade 10 up. Yeah, so the Burning Youth, they were so courageous. They took a risk and they just started playing the song. No announcement. Hosa, and you know this is a serious. It's New London Motel, the best in town. You know, and then it's packed. The patrons are there. Wafuno Tamba Live Band. I think the guest artist was PK Chala that night. And then, you know, they see these young guys singing Kumao, but because the song was so sweet. The audience, people from the audience started, the cleaners, they were dancing to Kumao, and then Jonah Sakala was, you know, amazed that we made people dance with a song they've never heard before. That's how he was convinced, and he gave us the money to go to DB studio.
How much was it?
By then?
You know, I wish Levy was here to remember the figure, because he was a treasure. It came from his brother.
But approximately,
yeah, but
studio time budget.
I need to research with Mr. Peter Misungilo. That was supposed to be maybe, if not, maybe 4,000 kwacha.
Okay.
Maybe.
Then?
That time, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where, I have to do the mathematics, because I think 600 kwacha was for the rehearsal.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be like 4,000. We booked a studio to record a 12-inch single.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 months in advance, because it was fully booked. Only studio. It's not like nowadays where you just find a studio. Yeah, so we managed to convince him. We went to DB Studios, still in school. By the time we were in grade 11, we had recorded Kumawa, our first song. And Kumawa was taken to T Records Company. That's the only record label. It was in Ndola. You know, so when you record from DB Studio, you go to Ndola, you know. And then, yeah, so we were fetching. We were all over, you know, in search of chasing our dream. And then we found ourselves on folk music by Chris Daka and Mark Botti those days on ZNBC. So we sang a song Ubamayo. Whilst our 12-inch was recorded, it was gathering dust at T Records Company. They couldn't release it because now, that was the time now, we were going through some liquidations. Example, Vuta, Manifest Republic, and companies are closing down. And yeah, so the song couldn't be released. It was good for us because maybe if it had come out, by grade 11, I don't know what to do. Yeah, so Tim Mvula saw us singing a song Ramayo on folk music. I remember we didn't even finish singing the song, but I was not very happy because I had to confront the presenter, and Lev was not happy about that. I said, "Why did you do that?" Because we didn't, as we were about to reach the peak of the song, then he said, "Cut." You know, the presenter, and then I said, "No, we didn't finish the song. The song hasn't." not knowing that by the time, we were very low because we had not finished our song Bamayo, so the program was, because there were a lot of guests.
And the song meant a lot to you.
Bamayo, yes, to thank the mothers, and it was one of our first songs. Then we just heard footsteps coming from ZNBC directors, upstairs, boom, boom, hey, you guys stop. That was Tim Mvula, the mighty, the great Tim Mvula. And he tells us, let's go to my office. Me, I was very sure that, so we went to the studio and then to his office, and he says, you guys, you're amazing. And he said very, very nice words, very encouraging words. And then I would like to know more about you. That's when we told him, by the way, we have a song Kumawa, which is gathering dust at T Records company in Dola. He said, what? You have recorded the song already? He said, yeah, we've been doing these things. So we gave him Kumawa single-handedly. He shot the video and edited it himself. Wow, by the time it was shown on ZNBC TV for the first time, it's these high-profile people, sometimes like a complex, but in high-profile, I come back when it's people drove to ZNBC. Zulu Butch, I remember, those were big names in Matero from all over, and Tim Mvula was so happy, so honored. He called us. No cell phones those days. We respected appointments. So he told us, this is what happened. And that was the beginning of Sakala Brothers' story.
By then you were still in grade 11.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very bad with grades. I've moved actually.
Okay.
That time, when we were doing this, we had graduated. That was, we completed secondary school. That was around 1990. We were at the same school with Inkweto Tembwe, who was with Faz later. He was also a radio for broadcaster, DJ. So Inkweto Tembwe was also an added advantage because he was a schoolmate, a classmate. So he was a DJ, and he blew Kumawa, he played it with Austin Chinengudu. So Inkweto did a lot, and the song became, like a blockbuster. In a short period of time, people loved it. So that is how Sakala Brothers started with the song Kumawa opening the doors.
Beautiful story. So, like after Yonse Ojane and Mwakwata na hit single, what was the next step for Sakala Brothers? Did you decide that apa number to alaba grupo or chala bashan?
Yeah, for us, sina limonga like tashta kuganiza tashta decide. If inalichabe just friends, just friends with Levy, singing together. So that's where now it becomes an issue because you are two people, almost same height, same surname, and he was extremely talented person and gifted person. I can't speak for myself. Yeah, so we were equally, we had a lot of similarities where we are talking about a story about the way people carried the culture of Zambian funerals. We agreed to each other because we're in Matero. When we talk about certain kind of songs for Chinamali, for initiation ceremony, we speak the same language. We understood and complemented each other. There was so much compromise. We lived a life like Mongaya Pongos. There's so much respect between us. Pongos the traditional way, not Yamanji. Just chill. So that helped us to stay together, I think. And then as we grew up later, like Levy could have his best friends. We became brothers now. Like you have a sister. Sister has her own best friend. When we're doing music, Makiwani music, we come together. So we were concerned, I think, especially during the school days, about that's how we named Makiwani music, because we thought Kulichilala. That time it was difficult. Kunali heavy rumba. Ikachoka rumba recorded in France. Beats with Brenda Fassie, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, and all those Kwaito, Mbakanga, and then American music. And Zambian music was some kind of, shunned, and the attitude was different because they were recording at DB studio. It was 8-track studio. Sometimes the sound was not stereo. So and no one wants you to be associated. Kuimba nyimbo manga za tradition. kavala chikumba, you know, you can't talk to those, you know, there's a certain class of people, you know, you know, the Ethi type with an accent, but exactly. you're singing Kalindula.
But I have you know, everything that you're saying is like in Levy, where you moved to a brotherhood. In a very short space, I would want to know the sweetest moment that you guys had. I would say maybe the epic, the epic point of Sakala Brothers and Nshimi Kinokona, the worst point you had.
Yeah, so many moments, you know, so many moments. It's like you are told to choose among your children. Really, a mother will have struggles. It's so many moments, but I'll pick a moment maybe in Mumbai, in India. There was an international world forum. These are high-profile events, and then for some reason, because we were carrying a campaign by Oxfam to collect some petition signatures. My signature jauchita petition munga ma farmers bantu banavutika muno babanyengerera, you know, ma unfair trade rules malamulo yamene ma farmers kuti bachoka bituza kumanja kulima koma kuti balandirendera mabino bwino ma cotton farmers bwanji bantu chabe coming from poor communities ovutika. So tonight kutenga ma petition signatures peleka kuja kuma superpowers, the big five. So there were these forums, and then we ended up in India because it collect almost 1 million petition signatures. So we were one of the musicians could not even be all over the world. Like, of course, but underdog. So one time we were performing on a smaller stage because there were a lot of stages. It's an international forum. It's thousands and millions of people. So there was this artistic director from India. She saw us perform on a smaller stage, and then she took a break and came to the dressing room. Artista invite Kuti, I love your act. Where are you from? Zambia. Yeah, where is Zambia? Sakala map. Yeah, you know. So she says, I'm so touched. We did a nyimbo at Make Trade Fair, a theme song. So Kumasilu and Chito Zamalonda, you know. She put us on the top 5. They only wanted to select only 5. All over the world, only 5 bands, and she said, I want you to be part of that.
Nice.
Wow.
Musically, and there's this big space in India for over, I don't know, there's 1 million people. It's a lot of people. It can take that space. It's like a sea of people. You know, even those people from Britain, from UK, our managers who were with us from Oxfam, they were not even allowed to get to that backstage. There were all these door bouncers, the supermodels, they're giving you to tea, you know. And Kalikos Kanyanganya, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Ni stage you. So, and Levy, I have his quotes. He had these interesting quotes. And say, Mawana Ambwana. We used to call each other Ambwana. These are the Sakala brothers. That was it. You know, in his own funny way, you know, the moon, the sun, and the Sakala brothers. That was I like that. So we performed on that stage, and wow, the audience went wild. I remember we had a few Zambians in the audience, like Sarah Longwe, Keith Abrahams, and many others who went, Diana. People were shedding tears. Keith came and shedding tears. That was quite something.
Give us the West one.
The West one?
Number.
Mufuna West in Yande?
No, not really, but I just want to know
West.
Actual West. I think really you guys at some point ended up just leaving team. I would want to know, you know what I mean, brothers who've been together for a very long time, all of a sudden decide to not be in the same group. That was very hard for us as a country to take, but I would want to take it to
for kutoka kulife. Kutoka kulife because tonight I'm back on for some time. Tonight kuambisana. It's only that you pay a price for being in the limelight, for doing a public job like music. So the pesa to so you see sankani ndiwe kusogolo kushimika. So it's very difficult, but you accept. You pay a price for that. But tonight kuambisana na Levy so many times. Chamene na chita nchakuti sina vomeri in the first, to be honest. Kamba chirungamo sina vomeri kuti aende, but nkani nalipo ni yakuti nkani za uzimu. It was to do with spiritual matters. That's when I applied brakes and I allowed a respected decision. Because now kamba nkani za kuti aenda manje kukala pastor. Because ntawe yafika yes been called. So you have to respect that.
Exactly.
So ndipa nchinakala munga chanivuta. If ingatizeze nkani wamba chabia, because Levy even from Matero Boys, from international school, and of no join Marianist brothers to become a brother. Vajaniswa kwa tida, wankala my brothers. He had that because he had a very strong background in the Pentecostal church. Me, I'm Catholic. Levy was Pentecostal at his early religious life. But Levy read the Bible. He taught me the story every day. The father had this soft point on Levy in the family and taught him the Bible. And so he came. The father was a church elder. He was a pastor. So he grew up in this background. So when this time came, me it was a group commitment. Time you end 30 years. Now he said I have to leave, and you can imagine. It was a difficult moment, a very, very difficult moment because we had a relationship like Mangani Chikwati, you know, wife and husband, where you have your highs, you have your lows, but because when you quarrel in the name of love and shaping each other. That's how we were differing with Levy. So that moment was one of the worst moments, especially when he decided, because you know things were happening to Levy where he was surviving near-death experiences. I could witness maybe 2 occasions when we were in school, when he collapsed in my arms, and then later on that the one that made him say he also collapsed in my arms when he had a near-death experience. There was high BP, there was this and that. But according to him, he said it clearly that he saw a lot of visions, and then he thought he just wanted to leave whatever he was doing and get to his calling. So that was convincing. But you can imagine Tassalas with the band, because people look at just Sakala brothers, but there's a big team behind. It's musicians. We are more than 20. We have got dancing girls. We've got players of instruments that work with us, and it's all this team that is fully employed as musicians with us. So that responsibility was left with me. And Levy later on, he brought his blessings. I said, honestly, I'd like to bless you that you continue with my Korean music. Because, you know, so he left and did that. So that moment, later on we started laughing about it and talking about, because we still met. Yenzemonga Nichikwati. We still continued spying on each other.
Okay,
what is he doing now?
Let me hold you just a bit. Please, we kumbuke the thought you with. So this is from 4. My voice, yeah.
We had 2 versions of
Okay.
Kumawa. There was the very first version that we did when we were in grade 11, Form 4. Then this one was the remix now.
Okay, the remix.
The remix that was done in 19. This one was 19. That was 93 somewhere.
I wasn't even born. What's going on here?
93, you're not born.
No, far from that.
So the Zambian national team was
Crashing.
Gabon.
You were just an imagination.
I think my mom was probably Valorosha our dad that store opana, but years later before I got
Yeah, but Munado Kamba, I think I don't know that Kumbuki.
And Kalkumbuki Gatinga Kumbuki nyimbo.
2
hours per stage. Yeah, no, stinga yuale. Tunalo kukamba pankani ya pamene Levy ana laila. Kuti moyo nali bwanji, nankala bwanji. Nenzo kamba kuti pachizungu. Kabiri chamene chizungu anatiphunzisa ichi. Ndiye chikulu chandifunga kuphunzisa vana vatu kuti tibweze mitundu mumaskulu. Vantu vakaziziva language ndachenzomvera nsondika. Tikaenda abroad, they ask you, what's your name? Moses. Do you have any other name? African name?
Yeah.
No, I'm Moses. No. We need bafuna kuziva. If you come from Zambia, Africa. If you come from India, give us some Indian food, Indian life. Show us something. You come from Brazil, the same. So it's very important for us to know where we come from. Yeah. So Ninzo Kamba Uchi, the way it was when Levy took a break. Relationship in Animonga is a marriage relationship where it was that kind of not that we were married, but I'm just saying, you know.
Yali close.
Yeah. Yakuti ngati mchenze chikwati. Niwaja wantu watu wanasiyana walipa separation but mtabatwana wakati okongo bado. You know, so because we kept on spying on each other, I kept on thinking, what is Levy doing now? Where if you hear anything about him, you want to pay attention. It was vice versa. It was the same applies. And the kuma weddings, mamali rotenal kumana, because we had common friends. Someone dies and then we have to be there, or we're invited on a wedding. I remember some occasions out to the wedding tapezeka ko tonse tidiko. Stina na kuziwa kuti zapezeka ko tonse pamoja. Mpaka the MC na wene wa wedding atimbani ko nyimbo. But he had already left that time. He was doing different things. Taimba pamoja. Then we realized, what are we doing? We are at the funeral. Some people call us, you know, to present something to comfort the family. Taimba pamoja. Then we ask, what is life worth? I mean, so that makes you sit down. Wagani Zagoti Kulibe, Sakala brothers will be forever. We can't say no, we are separated. And Levy put it very, very clearly when he came back to my family. When I also went to talk to some people from his family. So we managed it like that, and we respected each other's decisions. We reached a point where Levy said, no, me, I'm very comfortable with what I'm doing, this religious life, and you must continue because Makewani music, you know very well that this music, like Akalindula, Makewani music, is in the same category. The traditional contemporary music is suffering in Zambia because there's no investment put to it. Kulibema venues, uzaenda bwanji kwatambe live show with your family in a club, in a bar. Those are different businesses. We don't want to say anything negative about that. But in a life yao kuja, but life can't just be party and clubbing. There's a time for family to go and watch a band. We need a band during the day. So there's no investment. I remember when kunalima manabula kuchita research by European Union in Zambia. We have no venues. They said actually Zambia, Zimbabwe is better, it's got venues. They said actually Zambia have more venues than Zimbabwe. Look at those community halls. In every compound, every section, every suburb had a hall. Kabwata community hall, Matero community hall, Chilenje, George compound, Kuchaisa, Konso Namanga halls, community hall for recreation. But they've been given away, they've been grabbed. 20th century, Mutown, over 1,000 people, Manuana Kuliza in the Pongos, Plaza 3, for people to go and socialize and listen to good messages. But there was a certain thing that happened. I don't have anything negative with the churches, but the churches are supposed also to be with the churches. Let those places that were community halls be given to people. Today we're talking about the youths today, from vending to this. Where are they going to go? You know, there's a lot of recreation. So you need to give attention to the arts. Because the arts, if you're talking about national rebranding in terms of morals and ethics, it starts from there. Keep them busy, then there's a lot that you learn. So that's how we grew up. We belonged to the community halls. There were a lot of activities happening. That's where we learned our craft. So ngati kulibe sivichitika hivi. Tenzoenda pa platform. By the time you become a musician, you know how to entrance for the stage, how to behave on stage, how to stand, what to do. But these days musicians as punzisiraeka. there's a lot of miming and so on, and you can't blame them because there are no facilities. So there's need for investment. New dawn. So government to make sure that musicians have there are systems for musicians to live a life with dignity, dignified lives, not where when there's a problem, people often to donate, let's form a WhatsApp group to donate, we have lost a friend. There's supposed to be systems that are going to respect and honor people, not only politicians, because heroes are among us. Some of them who have lost their track. We can't even, no archives. So nivambili vamine monga imfa ya Levy tikumbusa. Kuti tifunika kupunzirapo punziro na kutengapo visanzo so that if we want Levy's legacy to live on, tivikonze vitu kama musicians muzambi afunika kupasiwa mpata na ministry yao chabe kuti vintu vazipasiwa ulemu, because musicians sometimes wamaendo imbira political parties kufuna kwao because there is no platform, there is no system. Through policy mani wankalira maloya bachani muli malamulo parliament do wapange malamulo yoyangana pa artist, because artists kuvala chabe maski or vala chishamba uvina chinyao. It's talking about our food, our clothing, designers. Art is white, so it needs its own standing. So tinga kambe vambili hapa koma tikamba hivyo chipacha kukumbukira kwa imfa ya malemu Levy Sakala.
Yes, namna definitively alikanifika nkala sana, and to are losing Levy same period to losing Levy KK, and may so rest in peace. So as Mulechita remember Levy, what's next for Moses Sakala, and what else are you going to add on Pakchita on Levy apart from kukonkomesha kwa bati musicians bale kwata ko bale bapera ko something?
Choyamba chifukwa monga kwa ine Moses Sakala tingakampa chizunguti ni full time ni nchito music kai bantu bamafunsa kuti I remember amai kudala tatoka Matero Boys but nomba mwana wangu ni nchito yote yani ya msebenza atani ni musician ni nchito kai people the brainwash and the white collar job kind of thing people believed. So music is a profession, and the professional musician must have their own board talking about professionalism. So we can't to celebrate Levy's life and to honor his memories, we have to continue. So in fact the time Levy died, I was about to launch my album, my new album, but we suspended all that naleke zatfa tunafunika kutitidile mazile poyamba. So kuli new album yanizabu ya kulingana na manima funsira funso Moses Sakala, and for the first time naishta ma collaboration with one or two ladies. Wamintiza chosa nao nyimbo pamoja zina ngudimba neka as Moses Sakala rebranded. So now to honor Levy Sakala mkumbukira kuti mzimu wake upume mamtendere, tishta tribute, virtual tribute concert, as you know my restriction and my COVID. So ni virtual izankala online pa 19th Pasondo on Sunday 19th September on Rockstar TV. So in virtual concert yamenetiza chita kushitamunga tikumbukira umoyo wa Levy Sakala, to celebrate his life and to honor him as our icon, as our hero. Yeah, so we will be performing music, classics, nyimbo zakale za pamtima.
Nice line.
For Sakala brothers. Zakale za pamtima. So we play Kumawa, Kalebalika, Toledo Vovo. All the Sakala brothers songs that we can manage to play within the given time.
Pasande. In closing, because I wish one my artist could answer questions the way you answer, made our job very easy. But in closing, if I'm listening to Sakala brothers for the first time, maybe I'm whether in a foreign now, maybe I'm just a young person, where can we find music of Sakala brothers, and what words do you have for all of us Zambians at this point?
What we have done, the Ikapamozi team, media team, which will be launched also. The time we'll be launching our new projects next month. So the Ikapamozi media team from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, vonse mndandanda will be on, and all the information will be there now about how to access, because in zona takala na problem yakuti bantu baifuna music basazi bakoipeza but yonse information is abwela tili ku Odini Art Center community punzisa bonse banafuna kupunzira music bamnafuna uziva music olokuti punzisa ise tili ku Odini Art Center ni ku Charleston former Lusaka City Council Tavern munja kuchimungwerere road near the old police there, and the community namalo community punzisa young people about music and the different forms of art. So that's one contact point. Kuliwenangu ngati muli vulnerable wali na ma problems tipunzisa timverana tikankala na proof kuti zona mfungachiti wenangu azambo ita support, others will be sponsored, others will be provided with a scholarship, small scholarships kuendelea beko abroad even just coming to Odin. So we have that space there for people to make your music. And yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
You want to finish it off?
No, you
go ahead. Be the Levy in my life.
I've always been the Levy in your life. Anyway, tutotera sana pa ideas motushimikila ko festival, and we are hoping abantu wake makapino kuisa no baka tuning up mantanya poma social media abo kwebati bomfweko amanimbo imwaimbili na ba Levy in honor of the late Levy. So I mean kulanda kuona ona balanda fiance. Yes, tafchira pa wali.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, tuonga antu wanso wa Mzambia poti Dalisa tuonga nayo no radio station poti pasa mpata mulungu akudaliseni kwa mpamvu zonse.
Amen.